Hey guys, if you're interested in any figures or figure accessories that I have currently up for sale, go ahead and send me an email. Just go to my channel page on YouTube and go to the About section, click on that, and you'll be able to get in touch with me. How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back once again with another Hot Toys review video. And this time we're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys Classic Suit Spider-Man from the PS4, PS5 video game. And this is VGM 048. But before we get into the review, guys, there's just something I have to mention to you. So I pre-ordered this figure with KG Hobby online. I pretty much pre-ordered it day one, the day it was announced. And I don't know if they're known to do this, but the reason I'm so late on this review is because I just got this figure today. But like I said, I pre-ordered it through the KG Hobby website day one. And for those of you who don't know, KG Hobby is based out of Hong Kong. And they should have been among the first to be shipping out all of their figures. And I don't know what happened, but they shipped it out really late. And by the time they shipped it out, all of the US retail stores online already had this figure in stock. Them and pretty much everywhere else. I don't know what took them so long, but yeah, I was pretty pissed. I don't know if they forgot about me or what, but that's unacceptable. That shouldn't have happened. So that's my experience with KG Hobby. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything from them ever again because of that. Anyway, let's get this review going. So the classic suit has always been a fan favorite of mine. This is a long anticipated figure that I've been waiting for. Now, Spider-Man has worn other cool suits in comic book history and in movies and such, but the classic suit will always have a special place in my heart. So we're going to start the review off as usual with the first category being the source information. Now, I did review the Scarlet Spider suit from the same game, and when I did the source information on that figure, I rated it based off of the comic books and not the video game. But this time I'm going to rate this figure based off of the video game. I'm just going to tell you guys right now that I loved it and it's one of my favorite games. I have to say that I think it's on par with Batman, the Arkham series. So because of that, I think I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10. And I can't wait until they come out with Spider-Man Part 2 on the PS5. They already teased Venom as one of the villains on there, so that's going to be pretty cool. And speaking of Spider-Man, I can't wait for the Wolverine video game to come out on PS5 as well. It's going to be awesome. Alright, so there you go, guys. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of packaging. So just like all the previous Hot Toys Spider-Man figures from the video game line, this packaging is pretty much the same as those. It's a pretty similar style design, like Spider-Punk, Scarlet Spider, and Spider-Man 2099. So, you know, they got the blue and the red. You got an image of Spider-Man there front and center wearing the classic suit. That is a image from the video game. And then you have the Spider-Man and Marvel logo right there. And on the top it says 1/6 scale collectible figure. And then you have a bunch of images of Spider-Man on the side, kind of like a shattered mirror type design. And it's all in blue. And on the bottom it says video game masterpiece. And then again on the bottom, it says Spider-Man Classic Suit, VGM 048. And on the bottom left corner, you get the Hot Toys logo. And on one side of the box, it says Spider-Man Classic Suit. And then you get the spider symbol there in the middle. VGM-048 1/6 scale collectible figure. And on the other side of the box, it's a wraparound of the front of the box with the shattered mirror images of Spider-Man. And then on the back, you get the spider symbol again on the very top, and then the Hot Toys logo right below that. And then below that, you get all of the symbols from the Hong Kong retailers that sell Hot Toys figures and all of their information. And below that, you get the warnings and stuff that nobody really reads. And then you get the Marvel logo on the very bottom. And then you also get a Disney sticker seal of approval there. And then you get the barcode right below that. On the top, it says Spider-Man Classic Suit, VGM-048 1/6 scale collectible figure. And on the bottom, it just says Spider-Man with the Marvel logo. And just like the rest of the Hot Toys Spider-Man figures, it does have a magnetic door that you can open up. And inside you get a window displaying the figure and all of its accessories. And on the inside of the door, there's a quote from Spider-Man. And it says, "Writing your memories, don't forget the hyphen between Spider and Man." That's a quote that Spider-Man himself has said in the game. And then we have another image of Spider-Man in the background, an image from the video game, but this time it's all in red. And this box you'll be able to open up from the top or the bottom, depending on your preference. And that's about it for the packaging, so it's pretty good, all in all. So for the packaging, I'm going to give it a 8 out of 10. Alright, so that's it for the packaging, and now we're going to move on to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I gotta tell you guys, I think Hot Toys nailed it. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same head sculpt that the Advanced Suits Spider-Man figure had. But I'm not 100% sure on that since I've never owned the Advanced Suit figure. But if anybody does own it and you're watching this review, just let me know in the comments below. But to me, it looks like it's pretty much 100% the same head sculpt. This head sculpt comes with 3 sets of interchangeable eyes. These ones that you see here are the ones that come on the figure out of the packaging. They are the widest ones. And then you got some medium closed eyes and some eyes that are squinting. But yeah, they all look, and the head sculpt looks like it did in the video game, so real nice. So for the likeness, I'm going to have to give it a 10 out of 10. And if I talk you guys through this pose, it's a pretty common pose that he often does in the video game. If he's crawling on a wall and you rotate the camera around him, he'll turn around in this angle and get a view of the city pretty much. So that's what I went for. Alright guys, so stick around and we'll head on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And I gotta say that I am pretty impressed with the outfit. It's a lot more durable than your average Hot Toys Spider-Man figure. Now again, I haven't owned the Hot Toys Advanced Suit Spider-Man, but I've heard that it's made of the same material. It's very thick, and I think it's made of vinyl. The material of the suit, it does feel like vinyl. So, like I said, it's very durable. So, it should last a long time. But still, I wouldn't leave it in extreme poses for too long, like this one. Because I've already tried a few extreme poses, and once you put it back into a neutral position, you can see all the creases in the suit from where you've bended it. Like for example here in the crotch area, and in the knees and in the elbows. So it definitely leaves creases. But if you don't leave them like this for too long, once you put them back into a neutral pose, it will go away, all of those creases. So this is a figure that I'm definitely going to have to keep in a relatively neutral position. Sadly, of course. But as for the accuracy, as how it looked in the game, when you start off the game, you start off in this suit before you get the advanced suit. And yeah, it's pretty accurate. This is exactly how he looked in the beginning of the game, when you go off to fight the Kingpin. I have to say that it's probably the closest we'll ever get to a comic book Spider-Man. I could be wrong though, because Hot Toys is already starting to come out with comic book inspired figures like Iron Man, and they've already announced a comic book looking War Machine figure. So who knows, we might actually get a comic book inspired looking Spider-Man. But having said that, I am pretty happy with this figure. So depending on if they make a comic book Spider-Man and how good it looks, I may pass on it, since I'm already very impressed with this figure. The one thing I will say is that the spider symbol on his back, it's not accurate to how the comic book Spider-Man's spider symbol on his back looks. If you guys have the Spider-Man Homecoming figure, the spider symbol on his back is more comic book accurate than this one is. But other than that, this figure is pretty accurate to how he looked in the comic books. So for the outfit, I think it's going to have to get another 10 out of 10. Because it's exactly how he looked in the video game. And it's also made of a very tough material. I'm very, very impressed with it. So yeah, like I said, 10 out of 10. And now to talk you guys through this pose. This is a pose that was inspired by the Spider-Man sideshow statue, where he's fighting with Doc Ock's tentacles, but instead of that, he's fighting with Scorpion's tail here. I wish I could leave him in this pose because it's pretty badass. But sadly, I'm going to have to take him out of it. Alright, so stick with me guys and we'll move on to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of articulation. And this is where this figure is going to have to suffer a little bit. Given that it's a Spider-Man figure, and Hot Toys has been known in the past to make Spider-Man figures with really good articulation, compared to those, this one is not so great. But we'll run it down as usual, starting at the top with the head. Pretty good articulation, a full 360 degrees spin all the way around. He can look up pretty good and down pretty good as well. And lean from side to side pretty good. He's got a ball peg that connects to the neck, and at the base of the neck, he's also got a joint that helps articulate the head as well. As for the shoulders, he can rotate about 90 degrees forward and about 80 degrees backward. He can't raise his arms above his head, sadly. I'm guessing it's because it's hindered by the outfit. Since it is a pretty thick material, he can't rotate his arms above his head. He can stretch his arms outward away from his body pretty good. He can pretty much do a Y pose, which is a little bit past 90 degrees. He's got a bicep swivel and double bend elbows. He has standard Hot Toys wrist pegs. As for the ab crunch, it's pretty good. Not to the extreme that a typical Hot Toys Spider-Man figure would do, but it's decent enough. Also, he can lean pretty far back as well. Oddly enough, he can't lean from side to side in the ab section. He can rotate a little bit from side to side. And as for the crotch area of the legs, he can kick forward about 90 degrees. And he can kick pretty far backward as well. A little bit past what your normal Hot Toys body can do. He's got double bend knees as well. As for the ankles, it's pretty good articulation. He's got solid joints. He can pretty much stand without a base if you wanted to. He can point his toes pretty far down. And he can point his toes up a decent amount as well. He's got a slight ankle rocker from side to side. A little bit, not too much. He's also got a toe hinge as well. So you can bend them up if you want. And he can do the splits pretty good, I'd say. And and that's about it for the articulation. But that being said, I had a pretty tough time putting him in some standard Spider-Man poses. Given the fact that Spider-Man is a pretty flexible guy, I just couldn't find a lot of poses to get him into. The suit itself hinders the body a lot, and I think the body itself, the joints just don't want to work with you. So for the articulation, I think I'm going to have to give it a 7 out of 10. Alright guys, so I'll talk you through this pose. It's your classic pointing pose with all the Spider-Man involved. Alright, so that does it for the articulation. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so we've made it to the final category, which is accessories. But before we start talking about the accessories, I want to show you guys this pose first. I got him with the Limb Toys Peter Parker head sculpt right now. And he has the Spider-Man Homecoming mask in his hand right now. Alright, so let's get to the accessories. He comes with a total of 12 hands. So he comes with a pair of fists, but these don't come on him out of the packaging. He comes with a pair of wall-crawling hands. And all of these hands have raised webbing on the costume, just like the head sculpt. I'm assuming they're exactly the same as the Spider-Punk hands. He also comes with a pair of webbed whipping hands. And these you can swap out the bottom half of the hands. As you can see right now, he's got the web shooting hands on. But you can swap them out with these that don't have the webs coming out of his hands. As you can see, there's pegs right there, so you just plug those into the hands. And those will get rid of the webs on his hands, just in case you don't want to plug the webs into him. And he also comes with a pair of pointing hands. So if you want to recreate the pointing pose where he's pointing at other Spider-Man, you can do so with these hands. Or you could also use these hands to make it look like he's using his cell phone. And he also comes with a spare pair of wrist pegs, just in case you break the ones that are on him. He also comes with 3 sets of interchangeable eyes. So we have the normal eyes, which are the biggest wide open eyes. And they're all magnetic. And then you have the medium opened eyes. And then you also have the squinting eyes. And they all look good on the head sculpt. And then he also comes with his cell phone. It is a little bit different than what we got with the Scarlet Spider. The screen looks like if he's in the middle of a call with Dr. Octavius. And on the back, you can see the camera. So I'll show you the difference in what the Scarlet Spider suit cell phone looks like. So here we go. The one on the right is the classic suit cell phone, and the one on the left is the Scarlet Spider suit cell phone. So if you take a look at the very top of the Scarlet Spider suit cell phone, there's no camera. And the classic Spider suit does have one. And if we flip them over, the one on the left is the classic suit Spider-Man cell phone, and the one on the right is the Scarlet Spider suit cell phone. I don't know what they did, but the camera looks different. It looks like they attached an extra piece, whereas the classic suit cell phone looks like it's molded in, like sculpted in the camera. So yeah, it's a little bit different. Okay, so moving on to the rest of the accessories. You also get this Daily Bugle newspaper. It has actual print and actual readable graphics. This front page is actually the newspaper that was issued at the end of the game. So it says Spider-Man hailed as NY's savior, and Osborn resigns, disgraced mayor steps down. Daily Bugle, New York's finest daily newspaper. And there's a picture there where they're serving the serum to vaccinate people from the virus that spread through New York. And it says, cured, anti-serum cures sickness. And it says where to get anti-serum. Dr. Morgan Michaels spills on Oscorp. And Octavius reigned. And on the back, there's more. The top is pretty much the same as the other page, and so is the bottom. But the picture, it's a picture of Spider-Man, and it says, "Who is the Spider-Man?" One dog walker claims to know. And once you open it up on the first page, all these pages are pretty much the news clippings that are posted on Peter Parker's bulletin board in his laboratory. So you have all the villains that show up in the game, the Sinister Six, and more newspaper clippings as we flip the pages. And that's about it for the newspaper. And when we move on to his webs, it's basically the exact same webs that we've gotten throughout all of the previous Hot Toys Spider-Man figures. We got the funnel web, the L web, 2 long webs and 2 short webs, and the spooled web that looks like he's spooling it in his hand. And then here we have Scorpion's tail, which is pretty much all made of rubber except for the head. But they basically put a metal rod on the inside of this tail. It's the same rods that they use with the flight poles, like these. They just put one of those inside this tail, so you can bend it however you want. And in the end, they have a hinge where you can move the head of the tail. And on the end of the tail, we have the stinger, and it is made of a soft plastic, so it won't break. And yeah, it's pretty cool. You could use it for cool poses, as you've seen throughout my review. And you also get this plastic piece, which you can attach to the base. And in this hole, you would screw the tail in. And that's what would hold up the tail. And this pole is an extension to the flight pole. So you would basically just screw this into that bottom part, and that would extend the pole to make it even longer. And that way you could have Spider-Man use the backdrop here, this brick wall. And the brick wall is pretty cool. It's got 2 sides to it, an interior and an exterior, with a broken window and some graffiti on the bricks. So you can have Spider-Man wall crawling on it, or jumping off of it, or whatever you want. And you also get the base. So yeah, all in all, pretty good. Pretty decent amount of accessories. It's just missing a few things. We could have gotten things similar to what we got in the past, like the pizza box with a pizza. We also had a spider drone with the advanced suit, and I think that figure also came with a Spider-Man plushie. We could have gotten a Peter Parker head sculpt as well. And the Scarlet Spider also came with Mary Jane's camera. So yeah, we definitely could have gotten a few more things, a few more gadgets with this classic suit Spider-Man. Some more gadgets would have been cool. Anything really. But, they did compensate for that a little bit by giving us the tail and the backdrop. So it kind of evens out, but not really. So I guess I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Alright guys, so stick around while I add up the scores and wrap up this review. Okay, so to add up the scores and wrap up this review, this figure gets a 53 out of 60. A pretty high score if you ask me. The only thing it suffered on was articulation, but for that it got a 7, which is not very low, to tell you the truth. So yeah, all in all, it's a pretty good figure, guys. I would recommend it. If you're thinking about picking it up, I would say go for it. If you're a Spider-Man fan, even if you're not, it's still a pretty good figure. If you were to have one Hot Toys Spider-Man in your collection, I would go for this one. So to talk you guys through this pose, I have a three-way battle going on. We have Venom attacking Spider-Man. He's got him by the leg, and he's about to come at him with the axe arm. But Scarlet Spider is stopping him by webbing up at the axe. So yeah, that about does it for this review. Another review done and in the bag. And once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications of my latest videos. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. But until next time, guys, I shall catch you all later on the tube. Alright, bye guys.